Hi there. In this video we're going to take a closer look at how we add images to our HTML pages. We'll explore how to load an image and how to give it a good alternate text value and a good title value, as well as how to adjust the size of the image on our page using height and width attributes. We've all heard the phrase that a picture paints 1,000 words. Well, images are a very important part of any web page design. They enhance the visual appeal of our page, can create excitement or interest about our content, and can have an impact on the message we are sending our readers. Let's load our first image. To define an image on our page, we use the image element. Now this is a self-closing tag, meaning that it doesn't require an end tag. To define the image, we go inside the image tag and we set some attributes. One of the key attributes to set is the source attribute, which tells the browser the location of the image. And before I set this, let's have a look at the images on my local machine. As you can see, my images.html, which is this page, is here on my local machine. And at the same level on my disk, I have this images folder, which is a good practice for gathering all the images I want to use on my web page or website into this single folder. Inside this images folder, I have lots of images. Some of them are PNG and JPEG files. And as you can imagine, any modern browser can support these image types and can show the images. So the image I want to use is located in this images folder, and it's called beach.png. So that's the value I will set here in my HTML page. I'll set the location to be images/beach.png. So that's a relative path. It's telling the browser that they'll find this image in an images folder, and it's called beach.png. So when I save my file, there you go. I have loaded my first image. Let's talk now about the alt attribute and why we add alternate text. The alt attribute is important because it offers an alternate source of information about this image for those who cannot see the image. This text is read aloud by screen reader software for those with impaired vision or disabilities. And search engines can't see your image either, so they rely on the alt text to understand what the image is about. This text is also displayed to the user if for some reason the browser can't display your image. So for all of these reasons, make sure you supply a good descriptive alt text for every image. Now what text you supply depends on the type of image you are displaying. If the image is just a background or a decorative image, you might not want to describe it with this text and instead let the screen reader skip over it. But for functional images or images containing or supporting information for your page, you should always supply this alt text. Now while the image we have in front of us here could be decorative, what if it's being shown on a page that is renting a beach house and this is a view from the backyard? In that case, I would provide a description that conveys the meaning of the image. I think this would be a good alternate attribute value. So here what I've said is, enjoy the magnificent view of the beach and the sea from this oceanfront cottage. So let's show the alt text in action when the browser can't load my image. To do that, I'm going to break the link on the page by pointing to a location or file that doesn't exist. So for example, if I have a typo here, and that now is a file that doesn't exist on my disk. So as you can see, when the link for the image points to a file that doesn't exist, our alt text is displayed nice and clearly on the page. So this is the view that you would see. It's not ideal, but at least you still get some information and can continue with the page. So that's the alt text attribute. So let's go ahead and repair our link so we can see the image again. I'll just change it back to the original value and I'll move this down so we can see it. So the next attribute that I'd like to talk to you about is the title attribute. Now this is a global attribute and it's supported by the image element. It's used to convey more information about the image. So for example, if I type in title equals and then paste in some descriptive text, it says oceanfront view from the Surfer's Paradise Rental Cottage, California. And what happens is if I save my page, nothing looks like it happened over on the page, but if I hover over the actual image, now I get that information. So this is a visual element that is displaying more information about the actual image in question. So that's the title attribute. Now let's have a look at how we adjust the size of the image on our page. For that, I'm going to need a bigger image. So to save time, I'll just paste in a new image and save my page. And as you can see, this is a new image, smiley.jpg. And if I scroll down, you can see, whoa, this is a very large image. So what can we do? Well, we can easily fix this with the help of the width and height attributes. I'll use this attribute, width, and I have to define this in pixels. So you may have heard the term pixel before. It's just a unit of measurement for computer screens. Each screen is made up of millions of these tiny squares called pixels. For example, my monitor that you see here is 1920 by 1080, meaning it's 1920 pixels tall and 1080 pixels wide. So let's try a width value in pixels, and I'll pick something small, say 300, and I'll save my image. And now if I just scroll down, you can see my image is actually showing. So again, if I remove the width, save again, you can see the image is in its native size. But if I was to set the width, you can see the image shrinks down to a nice size. You also notice that I've only defined a new width attribute value, but the height of the image has also been adjusted. Well, that's because the browser tries to maintain the aspect ratio of the image. So I could define a height attribute as well. And when I save my image, when I scroll down, you can see that the image height has changed and the image looks squashed because I've changed the aspect ratio, the height to width ratio. So I'll just remove that once more, and there we have our smaller image. So that's changing the size of an image using the width and height attributes. Finally, I'd like to show you how to load remote images. Up until this point, we've loaded images located on a path relative to our page. As you can see here, the smiley.jpg image is in a folder called images relative to this page called images.html. However, the real power of the web is to be able to gather information from across the internet. And all we need to do is supply an address. This time, I'll paste one in. And as you can see, this is just a URL. And it's telling the browser to find this image located at this site, gist.github-user-content.com/Andrew J. Byrne, etc., etc. And at the end of this long URL is just the name of my image, image001.png. And when I save my file and we scroll down, you can see that that image has been loaded from this remote site into our web page. So that's it. In this video, we had fun with images, the image tag, and its attributes. So you're all set to spice up your pages with some images. Take care.